What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be learning the nollie. Now, just as the name suggests, a nollie is simply an ollie done off the nose of the skateboard. Doing a nollie does require you to use your opposite feet for popping and sliding, and it may be among the first tricks that you learn that require using the other side of your body. Some people might prefer to learn switch ollies first. I think nollies are easier. In any case, learning nollies is going to help you be able to do switch ollies and vice versa. Nollies are good for getting into grinds and slides. They're prerequisites for nollie flip tricks like nollie trays and nollie hills. It's an overall versatile and fundamental trick to learn if you want to skate, nollie, and switch. So let's get into foot setup and weight distribution. Your foot setup, of course, is going to be very similar to an ollie except with the opposite feet. The functions that your feet have are reversed. Your front foot is now the popping foot, and the back foot is now the sliding foot as opposed to an ollie. So think of the setup as similar to how you set up for the ollie, except your feet are reversed. Now there are some differences. I like to put my back foot, that is the sliding foot, a little bit closer to the heel side edge of my board as opposed to how I do on a regular ollie. So there's going to be more space between my back foot's toe and the edge of the board. As you can see, there's like a good 1.5 inches of space there. So keep that in mind. Now, as for the way I distribute my weight, I really like to stay on my toes for this trick. For some reason, it just works better if I keep my weight on my toes, and that goes for both feet, popping and sliding foot. Stay on those toes. Now, as for the more detailed complexities of this trick, basically it is just an ollie off the nose. Once you really get a good sense for how an ollie works, you're more or less going to have the same sense for how a nollie is supposed to work. There is one important difference that I need to go over though, and it is what I call the push. With a regular ollie, you're really just popping straight down and sliding like this. With a nollie, when you pop, you need to push it forward. So think of it as pushing the nose forward and popping downwards when you pop your nollie. You really want to throw it out in front of you, really sort of give it a good nudge, just like you see me demonstrating. Now, other than that little nudge that you give it, the steps are the same as for an ollie. You really need to understand how an ollie works. You probably want to have a pretty solid ollie before you start trying nollies, because having the understanding of how an ollie works, how the timing works, is really going to help you be able to nollie. And this is one reason why you don't see a lot of trick tutorials for nollie and switch tricks. It's because the fundamental techniques for a nollie or a switch trick are basically the same as for the regular version. So like the technique for a nollie kickflip is really very similar to the technique for a regular kickflip, just off the nose. So you just need to practice getting used to the feeling of using your opposite feet. You need to work on the timing and the way that it's different for using the opposite feet. But the techniques themselves, there's not really a lot that you can be told or that you can learn from watching a video that you can't learn from watching the same video about the trick in the regular stance. That being said, of course, if your ollies aren't so great, or if you can't ollie at all and you're just watching this for fun, consider going and watching my How to Ollie tutorial, getting your ollies down really solid, and then one day coming back to master the nollie. I will mention one more minor difference between ollies and nollies, and that is for nollying and ollieing over obstacles or down stuff, the timing for a nollie is going to be a little bit earlier than it would be for an ollie, right? So if you're going to nollie over like a broomstick or over a crack, you're going to have to do it a lot earlier than you would if you were just ollieing over the same thing. So you need to have more space between the front of your board and the object at the moment that you pop than you would if you were just ollieing over the object. That makes it harder that's one of the things that makes it much harder to nollie or fakie ollie over something, is because you have to do it so much earlier, and the sliding foot is actually working against you in the pulling the board in the opposite direction, as opposed to how it would be sort of going with you in the same direction, sliding the board forward if you were just doing an ollie. So that is pretty much going to cover it for the nollie. The main takeaway from this video is that you should really have a solid grasp on how ollies work before you start trying nollies, and you should do your best to apply that knowledge to how you approach learning the nollie. It's going to take some practice that you can't get from just watching a video, with training your opposite feet to do different tasks. But once you get that practice down, once you figure the timing out, the technique itself is just pretty much exactly the same as the ollie, with a few minor differences. If you enjoyed and or found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I upload lots of skateboarding content, mainly educational skateboarding content, to help you, my viewers, improve and get better at skateboarding. For those of you that have been around for a while, I have changed my upload schedule to Thursday nights, so keep that in mind. My class schedule conflicted with Wednesday nights, so it's Thursday nights from now on. Thank you so much for watching, keep shredding, and peace.